All right. Yeah. So again, good evening to everyone, and thank you, Daryl, and the Memphis chapter of the Black MBA Association for having Medtronic on tonight. As Daryl said, my name's Lara Bullock, and I am currently the chair of our employee resource group of Black MBA. As we get into things today, we're going to pretty much just talk about what it is that Medtronic does, how we do it, and have some of our leaders also walk you through some of those things. So again, my name's Lara Bullock. I work in the Restorative Therapies group as a sourcing engineer here in Memphis, Tennessee. I've been with the company for 2 years this time around. As when I was an undergraduate getting my degree in biomedical engineering, I also interned at Medtronic as an R&D engineer intern, and also I'm currently working on my MBA. Close to the finish line. We've got a couple more classes left, and 2 fun facts about myself. Over the pandemic, I've perfected the pour over coffee. I have a little bit more time before I have to get to work. And so this allowed me to work on my coffee skills. And also, when I was a kid, I was slimed on a Nickelodeon TV show. So that was pretty fun. And now I'll hand it over to Sherilyn to give you guys an overview, introduce herself, and also dive into what it is that Medtronic does.
Thank you, Lara. Yes, hi everyone, good evening. My name is Sherilyn Joss, and I am our Vice President and General Manager of one of the businesses here in Medtronic called Spine and Biologics. And so I have a background where I've kind of been globetrotting for a little bit. Did my undergrad on the West Coast in Oregon, did my MBA at IMD Business School in Switzerland, and have done a lot of work as well on coaching and life coaching. So my life purpose statement is really about bringing energy and connecting humanity while illuminating magnificence. So really great to be with you this evening and to share a little bit about our Medtronic story. So who is Medtronic? And what is this company all about? So some of you may know Medtronic because Medtronic, you'll have a bag and you'll be walking through the airport and someone may say to you, oh, well, I know my grandfather or my aunt has a pacemaker or a diabetes stimulator. But we do a lot more than that. In fact, we are treating over 70 types of conditions in the human body. We are one of the largest medical device companies who are really focused around technologies that are treating different patient care. And in fact, if you look at how many patents are linked to Medtronic, you will see that there are over 47,000 patents in our portfolio that help us bring our therapies and products to market globally. So really excited about what we do and why we do it, which is really, links into who are we exactly. And the company was founded back in 1945 by Earl Bakken. And Earl Bakken was our founder and was an engineer working in Minnesota and worked with his brother-in-law Palmer to come up with the first pacemaker. And so this was a huge innovation at the time because in the past, patients would have been actually plugged into the wall to be stimulated to keep their hearts beating. And he was able to actually invent the first battery-operated pacemaker and really then define who Medtronic is all about. And this is where we defined our mission in terms of what we are doing to alleviate pain, restore health, and extend life for patients who are suffering from different medical conditions. So I think I'm ahead of you a little bit on slides. I'm on slide 11. There we go. Yeah. And so it's just so exciting to see how these therapies really do make a difference in patients' lives and the families and friends of those patients. So really proud as Medtronic has continued to grow. Next slide, please. we've really been focused on a mission that has 6 pillars to it. So the first mission really being focused around the patients themselves, as I said earlier, alleviating pain, restoring health, and extending life. But equally important is these other pillars, which are really focused around how do we direct growth for the overall business, how do we strive without reserve for the greatest possible reliability and quality of our products. Quality is central to our strategies. Of course, we need to make a fair profit. And very, very important is to recognize the personal worth of all employees. Really making sure that we are developing employees, that we are bringing diversity to Medtronic, and then retaining the talent that we have. And our sixth tenet is really about maintaining good citizenship. And what are we doing with the communities around us and in the communities where we are serving and working with patients. So a little bit of our history. So again, as I said, founded in 1949 in Minnesota. It was in 1979 that we started to really reach out just of the heart business and also established our 83, expanded into neurostimulation. So this is really around pain and spasticity. In 1999, we acquired our spine business, which is really around how do we treat different spinal pathologies, either pain related or deformity related. We bought a company called Covidian in 2015 and actually doubled the size of our overall business. Very exciting, in 2017, we actually introduced the world's smallest implantables. And we, really exciting just to see how this has continued to grow within the Medtronic portfolio. And we launched our first robotic system and acquired a company out of Israel in 2019 with Mazor. So clearly a long history of driving innovation, and we really look at innovation and what can we do organically and what are we going to do as well in terms of acquisition and what types of opportunities lay ahead of us. So if you go to the next slide, I would finish just actually with a quote from our CEO, which is very telling, which is, "The future of healthcare requires new approaches and new forms of innovation. Medtronic is stepping forward to put the full power of our technologies and our people to work with new partners in new ways and drive value across the healthcare ecosystem. Only through collaboration can we drive healthcare toward a healthier and more efficient future." So really, really excited around the ecosystems and how Medtronic is really continuing to challenge ourselves and to really look, how do we help shape the future? How do we help be part of that molding and part of that change to drive better healthcare opportunities, not only for the patients themselves, but also for all of us who need to serve those patients as well. So with that, I'll pass it on to Jason Eckhart, who will tell you more about what we do.
Great, thank you so much, Sherilyn. Just to introduce myself, so I actually work for Sherilyn here in Memphis. I lead our portfolio marketing team within our spine business. I'll be honest, I'm a little jealous of Laura. I have not been slimed. That's something that I think would be pretty cool and fun to experience. But I do love the outdoors, hiking. I love to fish. I'm blessed in that I have a beautiful wife and 2 children, and we love the Memphis area. So it's really been a great experience for us working for Medtronic and really making an impact in an area that desperately needs it. So a little bit more about who we are. One of the great things about working within healthcare and working for Medtronic is the fact that you're working in an area where you're making a really major impact, and that's in addressing healthcare challenges. I mean, I think we all see it, we experience it on a day-to-day basis. For us, the global population is aging, so as people age, they become less healthy, and there's a greater need for good healthcare. You're seeing a function of that being the rise in chronic diseases that certainly obviously is amplified as well during things like pandemics. But we've seen within our system where we may not always necessarily be optimized for better care. Historically, a lot of the payment and sort of the delivery systems, the way we deliver healthcare is focused on the action itself. For example, if you get an MRI, the healthcare system rewards the MRI, not the total treatment for that patient. And so one of the things that Medtronic has done as a business is really focused on understanding when we bring new technologies to market, what the value of those technologies are within the entire care pathway for a patient. So it's been a really nice, critical part of what we do on a day-to-day basis. And then finally, we've seen that government policies and different regulatory systems really impact the way that we can bring innovations to market. So we work really hard on a day-to-day basis to collaborate with regulatory agencies and with the government to make sure that we can get the best and latest new technologies to patients and to clinicians to treat their patients in a way that really matters and carries the most impact. Next slide, please. So for us, we really sort of focus in three core areas to address those challenges. First is on innovation. It's a core part of our business. Sherilyn talked about developing the world's first pacemaker. If you actually look at the world's first pacemaker and the fact that it took up the majority of a room, and today when you look at a pacemaker, you can hold it between your thumb and your index finger, and it's really only no more than an inch in size. So you've seen that type of innovation over the course of the years, and it's an exciting thing to see. And for us, we're doing that now in a whole variety of different areas here within Memphis, within the spine business, and then a number of other places as well. The other thing that we've seen in order to address these challenges is the fact that obviously healthcare systems and access to therapies and care varies very dramatically around the globe. So, we're fortunate here within the United States to have a healthcare system that enables, for the most part, the ability to get access to care, although obviously there's a tremendous number of areas where it's not optimized for that. But then there are other places in developed countries and developed markets where even the most basic needs and access to care are fairly limited. So our goal is to be able to focus on expanding access and be able to advance healthcare systems globally. It's a big global focus. And then finally, talked about sort of the way that the healthcare system rewards actions rather than the total care pathway and care continuum. And so one area of focus for us as Medtronic is we develop new technologies, really understanding the value and impact they're going to bring to the market. How are they going to help with specific things for a patient with a certain type of pathology? For example, this new technology is going to help to reduce complications, or it's going to help to save time within the hospital, or it's going to help to save money within the healthcare system that can be directed in better ways. And so we have a very strong focus on understanding the value for our technologies and what they can ultimately bring to the healthcare system so that we can carry and make a big impact. And so, for us, we mentioned the spine business. We mentioned a little bit about the pacemakers and pacing, but we're really in a whole variety of different areas. At the moment, we really sort of focus on greater than 70 different conditions within the human body. So, in a lot of ways, we're not focused on one aspect of healthcare. We're focused on many different aspects of healthcare and developing new technologies that can help enable it. So it's been a really rewarding thing to see, even if we're not within a specific, or if we're within a specific business unit, we get that visibility and that exposure to technologies in a whole variety of different areas, both in how they might be able to be applied within our therapy area, but then also just to see the rewarding impact that they make within the healthcare industry and within the space. And I believe now I'm going to pass it off to Phil.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you for allowing me the time to speak to you this evening. Again, I'm Phil Hamilton. I'm an engineering manager here at Medtronic, been with the company for 5 years within the Customs and Specials group. The Customs and Specials group is responsible for accelerated design and development for custom surgical instruments for the surgeon and the surgeons that we interface with historically and or surgeons that we're trying to gain the confidence with our product line. I do also collaborate cross-functionally with different groups and business units to understand the needs of the engineers, what tools they need for speed and innovation. We were talking a lot about, Sherilyn and Jason talking a lot about innovation, but my team is responsible for making sure that the engineers have the tools that they need to provide the innovative product, whether it be through CAD or through other technology. Fun fact for me is NBA great Jerry West once asked me for advice. Well, that's not completely true. I had the privilege while I was attending Southern University to be part of the men's basketball staff. And Mr. West just, when he was attending one of our games, just asked for advice on one of the players to watch out for. So I gave him a name of a player that he should take a look at. So it's, I had no involvement with the Shaq acquisition, unfortunately, but that's my story. And also, I love to cook and tinker with cars. I guess it's, I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, so it may just be a rite of passage for everyone from Southern Louisiana to love to cook and to create meals and through different recipes for their family. So if anyone has a good recipe out there, please share it with me. Next. Let me introduce you to our 4 business groups where we offer therapies and patient solutions. The cardiovascular group, cardiac and vascular group, the diabetes group, the minimally invasive therapies group, and the restorative therapies group. Next. Go into a little bit detail about each of these groups. The cardiac and vascular group consists of the aortic, peripheral, and venous cardiac ablation solutions, cardiac rhythm and heart failure, and coronary and structural heart. The cardiac and vascular group brings our cardiac and vascular businesses together to take advantage of the full breadth of our talent, technologies, products, services, and solutions to address the needs of our customers and patients across the globe. A sample of our product line include implantable devices like pacemakers and implantable cardioverter and defibrillators, ICDs, to correct heart rhythm issues. Cardiac catheter cryoablation system to treat atrial fibrillation. Thoracic stent grafts to treat thoracic aortic aneurysms in a minimally invasive procedure. And transcatheter heart valves, which are put in place in a minimally invasive catheter-based procedure versus open heart surgery. Next. Our diabetes group, therapies and services for insulin-dependent type 1 and type 2 patients. Our diabetes group provides products to help patients better manage diabetes and ultimately enjoy greater freedom and better health. The diabetes group works with the global community to transform diabetes care by expanding access, integrating care, and improving outcomes, so people with diabetes can enjoy greater freedom and better health. The group focuses on empowering people with diabetes in need of insulin therapy to achieve better outcomes with smart, simple, accessible, and connected solutions. Next. The minimally invasive therapies group consists of the renal care solutions, respiratory, gastrointestinal, and informatics, and surgical innovations. Our minimally invasive therapies group enables earlier diagnosis, better treatment, faster complication-free recovery, and enhanced patient outcomes through less invasive solutions. Some of the product lines, products that include our technology and services to treat diseases and conditions of the gastrointestinal tract, lung, abdominal wall, pelvic region, and the head and neck, and also surgical stapling systems. Energy platforms, energy platforms, general surgical products, hernia mesh and devices, catheters, and patient monitoring systems. Okay, next please. And finally, the restorative therapies group, brain therapies, pain therapies, specialty therapies, and spine. The restorative therapies group serves a variety of disease states that are connected through a common thread, the central nervous system. We develop a diverse portfolio of life-restoring therapies and solutions that span the neuroscience care continuum and increase patient access, improve procedure efficiency, and deliver successful patient outcomes. Our product lines within the Restorative Therapies group include revascularization devices that restore blood flow following a stroke by removing blood clots, enabling technologies that allow for intraoperative imaging, surgical navigation, and robotic-assisted surgery. Implantable devices like the pain pump, as well as the neurostimulators that treat conditions like movement, bladder, and chronic pain. Complete procedural solutions for spine surgery and intraoperative systems and tools for ear, nose, and throat procedures. As you can see by the summary slide, Medtronic continues to lead in technology innovation. We take pride in our ability to not only perfect the products which we provide to our customers and patients, but also the fact that we can lead in our field with innovation and increase the speed of our development time for our product line. So I'll pass it on to Christy.
Christy, I think you're muted.
Thanks, Jason. I needed that lifeline. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Phil. Christy Blake here. I've been with Medtronic for 10 years. I actually started in the spine business and did a little bit of round the way, various roles in Los Angeles, Minneapolis, and came back home in Memphis about a little over a year ago. So as a native to Memphis, I did all of my schooling here. White Station High, go Spartans, if anybody knows White Station. Let me know in the chat if you've been to any of these schools too. University of Memphis, it was Memphis State University when I was there, and got an MBA at Christian Brothers. Couple fun facts about me. Dancing is my therapy. I'm, by all personality tests that I've taken, I'm an introvert by nature. But if you turn on some music and give me a dance floor, you'd never know it. And my 18 months, unfortunately, I wasn't as inclusive as Jason and bringing his whole family to his fun fact, but my grandson is absolutely the love of my life, which obviously means I have children too. I do have 3 sons and a husband. So that's a little bit about me. Next slide. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we do it. There's a lot to unpack in how we do what we do here at Medtronic, and Sherilyn and Jason and Phil have done a great job, but a little bit more from the standpoint of how we do it. Going to the next slide. We got to have the right people to be able to get all of that work done, execute on all those therapies in various parts of the body. We just saw Jason break down, and so we have a huge team, a global team of over 90,000 plus employees. And innovation is what we do, as Sherilyn mentioned. So 10,000 plus scientists and engineers help us innovate. And 1,600 plus clinical professionals help us get our products to market. And of course, a host of marketeers and sales organizations to actually bring the value of the surgeon needs to the patients and delivering on all of our products and services. So we have a tremendous clinical expertise, and we have huge investments as well. We spend about $2.3 billion a year, or at least last year, on R&D, which pretty much translates to more than about 4,300 patients and $480 million in clinical investments in a year. And so we've got about 370 plus clinical trials, and this is all the proven evidence we take to the regulators to help bring our products to the patients. Next slide. Our workplace. Not sure if our marketing leaders told you, but we are a competitive company. We like to be the best at what we do, and we feel we are the best at what we do. So we not only continue to attract the best talent like you guys on this phone, but we provide a mission-driven, fulfilling workplace. And so you see all of the awards that we've won in last year. We like not just to make things great, but we want to also make lives better. And as it relates to Diversity Inc., we got top 50. We got top 100 in the top 100 company 2018 in Thomson Reuters. And I won't name them, but all of these are very familiar entities that go out and market and research and survey across lots of organizations, sometimes within our industry, sometimes across just the Fortune companies. And we were able to make some high notoriety type of accolades as it relates to what our employees feel about working for the leaders here at Medtronic and for Medtronic as a mission-driven company. Next slide. And we're global. So we operate in about 150 countries. We're organized across 4 regions. We have our Americas region, including the US, LATAM, and Canada. We've got the Europe, Middle East, and Africa as a separate region. We have Greater China in and of itself as a region, which is one of our biggest priorities. We all know about the growth that's happening in China. And then we also have Asia Pacific as well. And our principal executive offices are located in Dublin, Ireland, but our Medtronic operational headquarters is in Minneapolis. We haven't been able to get back out there, but I spent some time in Minneapolis. And what I tell you, most of the time, anyone who joins in their career will have an opportunity to travel to Minneapolis over the course of their career. They speak in terms of winners. They don't count years, they count winners. But it's a great place in Minneapolis and Dublin, Ireland, all over the world. There's opportunities, and we do a lot of, we provide a lot of opportunities, not just to move and go and work in some of these countries, but to also interact. These are very integrated teams and will be even more so integrated teams where you could be on the phone or on Zoom with a global team working with one purpose of trying to bring products to the market. So it's a fulfilling place to work, and that's pretty much how we do it. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Victor, our communications partner and expert in so many different areas. Turn it over to you, Victor.
Thank you, Christy. You're way too kind. Hi, everyone. Victor Rocha. I'm a professional communicator for Medtronic. I'm assigned to the business unit, the spine business unit. I've been with Medtronic, actually be 12 years in a couple of months. So I'll be even dozen. I went to Marquette University. I'm a runner. I run a lot, 10 marathons and 63. Actually, I completed this. So now up to 64 half marathons. And my first career, I've been in communications for about almost 20 years. Well, my first career, I was in broadcast news for 20 years. Always behind the scenes, always a producer. And that's what I still like to do. I like being behind the scenes, and I find this is a perfect job for me. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple things, 2 tenets that Sherilyn mentioned earlier. The first one, by products and therapies, we work to increase our value to society in other ways too. And one of them is through philanthropy. In fiscal year 2019, we contributed nearly $100 million in combination with the Medtronic Foundation giving, product donations, volunteerism, and cash contributions. I think that's pretty cool. And over the history, we've given over $1 billion through our philanthropic efforts throughout the world. We call it practicing our 6th tenet, which is being a good corporate citizen. Change aside, please. In Memphis, this I think is really cool because I get to work with this a lot. Memphis employees last year gave $370,000 to 116 different organizations throughout the Mid-South. And Medtronic, we have this really cool thing called the dollar-to-dollar match. We matched $326,000 for a grand total of $700,000 that stayed here in the Memphis community. Now, multiply that by all the areas that Christy just mentioned, and that's quite a contribution, and that's quite a footprint and quite a commitment. Change the slide. Our inclusive and diverse culture will contribute to the acceleration of our growth strategies, therapy, innovation, globalizations, and economic value. And this further enables us to fulfill our Medtronic mission. And the fifth tenet of the mission is to recognize the personal worth of our employees. And one way we do it is through our employee resource groups. Change the slide, please. And it's a little busy slide here, but this shows the first part up on top shows this slide shows the Medtronic ERG networks. And we have, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the Medtronic Women's Network, ADN, the African Descent Network, the Asian Impact Network, HLN is a network for employees of Hispanic and Latino descent. And we also have a Pride Network for our LGBTQ employees and their allies. Now, so what's an ERG? Employee Resource Group. And along the side there, you see site-based ERGs as well. These are grassroots organizations. They have an executive sponsors for guidance. They're given budgets to bring employee engagement activities to campus. That's basically it in a nutshell. And they do a lot of goodwill in the community. And my final slide, I really want to emphasize this one. This last slide shows our African Descent Network. They, like most ERGs, have focus points. In this case, recruit, engage, develop are the focus areas for ADN. But I want to take a moment here to give a real shout out for this group. Since the pandemic, all the ERGs have had to kind of redo, how do we connect with our membership? They've been doing it virtually. And ADN has really been leading that effort. Their local leaders have really started a great dialogue with all the civil unrest that's going on in our country right now. They were looked to as leaders on our campuses throughout the Medtronic footprint to lead discussions, kind of sometimes hard discussions to do, but they're welcomed and they've been able to bring some changes and to bring a new way of thinking to our campuses. So again, a big shout out to this group. And you'll see you see some of our top leaders. There's Christy right there, and some other leaders that are part of this particular network. Again, these are all the executives that guide the organization, but really it's a grassroots organization of employees helping employees achieve their goals. And with that, I think it's time to pass it along to Katrina Lewis. Take it away.
Yes, thank you so much, Victor. Well, what an exciting list of accomplishments and wonderful contributions that the ERGs have made and the employees in Memphis have made. As you can see from the slide, I'm in Jacksonville, so I consider myself an honorary Memphis employee because I support the Memphis team and the core spine team from a recruiting perspective. My name again is Katrina Lewis, and I'm a principal talent acquisition specialist. I've been with Medtronic for 8 years, and as I mentioned, I live in Jacksonville. Now I'm going to swap out the slides if that's okay, Laura. Can I just go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah, take it away.
Okay, great. It says that I can't share while the other participant is sharing.
All right, I'll stop sharing.
Oh, thanks so much. Sorry about that. I was having some tech issues earlier. Let's see if we can get this up here. There we go. Is that working right?
Yep, all good.
Okay, great. So again, as I mentioned, I'm a recruiter with Medtronic, and my focus is primarily on marketing and training and education roles here. I have a bachelor's in government and history from Skidmore College in Saratoga Springs. That's in New York State. And obviously with a bachelor's degree in government history, of course, I went into HR. I don't know how that correlates, but it's worked well for me. A couple of fun facts. I have 2 sisters that are 28 and 32 years younger than me. So it's almost like I'm their mom, but I get to do all the fun stuff with them. So I enjoy that as part of my extended family. And then another fun fact that I don't think many people on this call or many of my partners in spine know, but I was the pitch for my college a cappella group. So if you ever saw Pitch Perfect, you know, the Bellas, that was me. I'm not going to go into any more detail on that, but I do have a T-shirt that says The Pitch. So, you know, we'll just leave it at that. So I put my email address here on the slide for you in case you have interest in opportunities at Medtronic, and I'm going to talk about a few of those in just a minute, but please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm very glad to connect you with the appropriate recruiter if it's not me, if it's not a marketing position, but I'm here to engage with you, and I've been a part and a supporter of the National Black MBA Conference for many years. So I'm really excited to be a part of this team. So there are, I guess the big message here is that Medtronic is hiring. You know, we're obviously in a global pandemic, but Medtronic continues to move forward with ensuring that we're bringing top talent into our organization. And on this slide, you'll see that there are a couple of different areas that we're doing some hiring in. Marketing right now in Memphis specifically, we have 2 positions open, and I'm going to talk about those in just a minute. In our training and education team, which is also part of marketing, we have about 6 positions open, and there might be one that fits your background. We also have at least 6 roles open in engineering as of today and 4 positions in medical affairs. And if you're interested in a career at Medtronic, all you have to do is go to jobs.medtronic.com, and there you can search for open positions by function, by keyword, by location. So if you're interested in opportunities in any of these areas, you know, you can certainly find a wealth of positions there in addition to the ones that are highlighted here. The other thing that you can do on the Medtronic career site is you can set up job alerts to be notified when those jobs come open. And so when you set up those alerts, you can indicate and change it at any point to send you a weekly or a daily notification anytime a new role is posted. It's a great way to take the guesswork out of it and to keep up to speed on new positions as they come open. So I'm going to move on to highlight a couple of roles here at Medtronic that are open today with Core Spine. The first one is an associate marketing specialist position. You'll see here that the job number is listed as 20,000 DHV. And what you should know about this role is that it's really a great entry-level marketing position. It's part of our upstream team, so it's focused on pre-commercialization or pre-product launch, and it's focused also on orthobiologics. And what we look for in this entry-level marketing position is at least a bachelor's degree with 0 years of experience. So if you're looking to make a move into marketing, this could be a great way and a great start to do that. We'd love to see some technical, clinical, or marketing background, or even engineering background, but it's a wonderful way, again, to start a career in marketing. The next position that I wanted to highlight is another marketing position. It's called a product manager, and it's focused on downstream. So in marketing, that's basically everything from product launch on. And the job number for that particular position is 20,000 DEJ. And this is a role that's focused on spine degenerative therapy solutions. It's a very visible position. It's a critical role, and it manages the entire minimally invasive, or MIS, fixation portfolio within the Core Spine group. So what we look for in this role is a minimum of at least 4 years of experience with a bachelor's degree, or a master's degree with at least 2 years of experience. And so that experience, the relevant, really is defined as sales, marketing, or similar. And we see people coming into marketing from engineering and other areas as well. So take a look if that might be an opportunity that would interest you. So again, it's focused on things like product launches, marketing strategies, marketing campaigns. Then the other 2 roles I wanted to highlight are part of our training and education team. And as I mentioned on the prior slide, we have 6 or 7 positions open right now, and I wanted to call out 2 in particular. The first one is a senior global training and education specialist role, which we kind of call a train the trainer position. It's a senior level individual contributor role where you would be providing training to our trainers in regions around the world. So it's a really exciting opportunity to travel. Of course, after COVID relaxes a little bit, but it's a wonderful opportunity to see the world and partner with people in different geographies. What we look for in this role is a bachelor's degree and, again, at least 4 years of experience, preferably in training, sales, marketing, medical education, or clinical or similar, or a master's degree with 2 years of experience. So again, it's a role that has lots of global travel, and you'd be working within regions to lead training events. And then the last position I wanted to highlight is a senior training and education specialist for in-house sales training. So this role is located in Memphis. The job number is 20,000 DFU. And again, it's a senior level role where you're focused on providing training opportunity or training to our sales and field personnel. So the ideal candidate is someone, again, with about 4 years of experience with a bachelor's degree or 2 with a master's. And the experience that we're typically looking for is training, sales, marketing, or similar. So if you have a passion for training and for training sales specifically, or if you're in a sales role now and you'd like to train salespeople, this might be a great opportunity for you. So with that, just a reminder that you can definitely find lots of opportunities on the Medtronic career site. Feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm always happy to connect either through email or on LinkedIn, but truly think about Medtronic as a place where you can come and grow your career. So Laura and Daryl, I'd like to pass it back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody at Medtronic. I know we kind of started a little late and we are past 6:45. So thank you to all of our speakers from Medtronic. If anyone does not mind hanging on, I have a few questions for the Medtronic staff here. Please feel free. If you do have to leave, I will say one thing. I do want to quickly say this before people kind of head off because we want to respect your time. With these webinars, we are excited because we are also giving away some free conference passes. So based on the people who have registered, I am excited to announce, drum roll please, we have 2 winners from our first 2 webinars. Mr. Raphael Smith and Demetrius Walton have both been winners for free conference passes. So we will be contacting you soon to give you your code so that you can register for our conference September 23rd through the 25th. So thank you, congratulations. It is more than just a career fair. It's just a lot of professional development, which a lot of our companies like Medtronic here tonight definitely want to continue to pour into their employees. So I want to make sure I hit that really quick. And with that being said, are there any questions for anyone from Medtronic? Please chat it in. We will kind of answer that real quick. I also want to say really quick, if you paid attention, everyone presenting tonight never mentioned an S on the end of Medtronic. There are no S's. We are very passionate about that. And so as you guys move forward, if you have the opportunity to interview, if it's one thing I always tell people, there's no S in Medtronic. I'm in marketing, and so I have learned from leaders like Jason and everyone else in Spine. We're so serious about that. I've seen us change word structures so that we don't even need to use apostrophe S. That's how serious we are about that, not having an S in the back of Medtronic. So with that, I'm trying to see if we have any chats here. Robin, if you can kind of help me out as well. All right.
Yes, Daryl, we do have a question. We got a couple of things. For candidates with no prior medical device experience, what type of background and skill set do you look for when recruiting for marketing positions?
Well, that's a great question. I can take this, and I'd certainly, welcome Jason, your input too. It really just depends on the role. If the role is a highly technical role, we might look for and might prefer candidates who already have medical device background, but it's not a hard and fast rule, and it really does depend on the position. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I would echo the same. Thanks, Katrina. It does very much depend on the role. I think we've been a company who, recognizes potential as much as historical skill set and ability. So, in a lot of cases, there might be roles where having a specific clinical expertise might be needed on day one, in which case it might carry a greater impact. But then there are other roles where there's the opportunity to develop that skill set over time, which we've done quite a bit. I think one of the exciting things is, we are very focused on employee development and building a skill set that I think is sustainable for a medical background and clinical, because we are such a clinically focused company. So, just sort of summarizing it, it does depend on the role, as Katrina said, but certainly open to not necessarily having a medical background.
And Katrina, I just have to jump in here. I would just say in the strategy that we're going in Medtronic, we're looking for people who don't necessarily have a medical background. We're looking for people that understand IT, understand how marketing, have worked in a business to business background. We really want to have diversity. You can learn the medical stuff. We'll teach you all of that. But we want to also bring in more diversity that brings more broader thought, so we can also learn from more varied experiences.
I am so happy to hear you say that. As a recruiter, I cannot say that even more.
On that same note, I'll add that the one tip I would offer you, as you look at the actual profiles, you might do a little bit of homework of looking at that profile and your resume, and be ready to speak to the hiring managers and their team, their interview team, on how your experiences translate into what they need. That will go a long way as well, because even if it's not as apparent when we read your resume, we want to be able to hear you talk about it and let it resonate with us.
That's another great point, Christy. And I also think that it can be helpful to, come to a phone interview or an in-person interview talking about how you're going to close gaps if you assess gaps between your experience and background and the job description or responsibilities in a position. But we are open, and we're open to reviewing all applicants and all candidates for positions, and I hope you will take us up on that.
Do we have any more questions? If you check the chat section, we do have Katrina's information in there. So any additional questions, you guys can reach out to her. We do have her email in there as well. Do we have any additional questions?
I think that was it. It looks like, I think, yeah, it looks like most of the questions are the same. Mary has a question, but I think it's talking about the training position, so we can definitely contact her and get her contacted with Katrina. But I'd like to thank everyone who joined tonight. Again, all of our leaders. Looking forward to next week as well. And again, our conference is going to be on September 23rd to 25th. You don't want to miss next week. As you know, we are still giving away some more conference passes. So tell your friends, join us. And thank you again. I also want to thank Sherilyn, because she has actually reached out to us, and she will be part of our Harvard Business Review panel discussion that will be in November as well. And so we've had quite a few leaders from Medtronic and other corporations here in Memphis. And again, they continue to support us. So I definitely wanted to thank her and our leadership team for supporting us tonight. Thank you again.
Thank you, Daryl.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.